What's up, WordPress people? I'm Jason Coleman, and today I'm going to be showing you the Sponsored Members add-on for Paid Memberships Pro. Sponsored Members add-on is a powerful plugin that allows you to set up membership levels that are given an additional user seats. This is sometimes called group memberships, umbrella memberships, or corporate accounts. Basically, you have one parent level that pays the subscription and manages the account. That level gets extra seats for child levels. Users of the child level have access to your content or app or whatever you're restricting with Paid Memberships Pro, but they don't have their own subscription. And the parent and child accounts are linked together so that if the parent stops paying on their subscription, all of the child accounts are also canceled. And later, if the parent starts paying again, all of the child accounts get reactivated. It's important to note that this is a complicated plugin that takes a bit of code to set up. In this video, I'm going to walk through the code for the most basic setup, and this is useful for a lot of purposes. So anyone with a little bit of experience with PHP should be able to follow along, copy and paste the code, and tweak it for your needs. All right, first up, I'm going to make sure that I have the Sponsored Members add-on installed and activated. So on my site here, I already have Paid Memberships Pro installed, and I already have my license key activated. You want to make sure they have one of the correct license types to be able to install and update Sponsored Members. So once you have that done, you can go to add-ons under the memberships menu and then find the Sponsored Members add-on. So I just started searching for sponsored and I see it's here. I'll click install from that screen and then I'll click activate. And now the plugin's activated and there's not going to be any change immediately to your website. To get this to work, you need to use some custom code. And we'll dive into the code in a bit, but let me show you what this looks like from the checkout experience. So I can open incognito window here. And let me navigate to my demo site. I already have this code installed and we'll dive into it later. But if I go to compare plans on my site, you can see I've added a company plan that's $1,000 per year and check out for this. I can enter a fake credit card number. This is just a demo site and submit checkout. And we'll notice on the confirmation page, this is the first change that folks will see. Because I'm checking out for that parent level, I get a box on my confirmation page explaining to me that I have a new discount code to use for the sponsored members that I want to invite. And it shows me both the code and the links to the various levels that the code has been configured to work on. So when the parent account checks out, they'll get these links and then they can share that with the people that they want to invite to use those seats of theirs. We'll also notice if I click, or it shows here, it says this code has 5 uses. And if I click through to the membership account, it'll show me on the membership account the same information, like what my discount code is, the links to get that stuff, and then how many uses are left. Now I'm going to show like what it looks like when someone uses one of those links to register. So let's assume I want people to use the enhanced level. I'm going to actually just log out as this parent account and then insert that link into my address bar. This is the link that the parent account would have emailed to someone. And when they go, I'm checking out for level 2 on this website. It tells me that the code has been applied and it shows me that the price is 0, whereas typically this level is $50 per month. So now I can check out as the child account. And this site is set up with some more information. So I'll just put that information there. All right, submit, continue. So now the child account experience is just like any other user on your Paid Memberships Pro membership account. They have access to the website. They have access to the account page. It tells them what level they have. It'll show up as they're billing for free. And they'll have an invoice for $0, but otherwise they don't have access to the main subscription of the parent account that's paying. And any of our courses or, content on this website that was locked down for that enhanced level is now unlocked for the child account. Real quick, I'll log back in as the parent, and then you can see how the parent account has been updated now that child account has checked out using one of their codes. So if I logged in as the parent and now I go to the account page, and I do see my membership here because I'm the one paying for it. And under here where it says the code that I would share, it says 1 of 5 uses. And now there's a table that shows me all the people who've signed up with my code. So if for some reason someone got a hold of this, or Bob from marketing was not supposed to use the account, it was supposed to go to Sally in the sales department, you can remove Bob by clicking remove, and then that use becomes available for someone else. So that's the experience for people interacting and checking out for a level that has sponsored levels. Let me show you how it's set up in the code and some of the things from the admin perspective. So I'm switching back over to my dashboard where I installed the Sponsored Members add-on. I'm logged in as an admin here. And the way that I've done this on my demo account is I've installed the Code Snippets plugin and created a code snippet for this. Let me give it a title so it's not entitled. This is Sponsored Members Code. And you could put this into a custom plugin. That's another way to do it. You could put this code into the functions.php file of your theme. That's another way to get this code running on your website. It really depends on what you're comfortable with. We have a really good blog post and video on the Paid Memberships Pro site about how to add code, custom code to your website. So search for custom code or code snippets on our site, and there's more info on that. But I've activated and installed this Code Snippets plugin. I've created a new code snippet. And then this is the code that I'm using to set up the sponsored members. Let me show you really quick where I got the outline for this code. If you go to our website, Paid Memberships Pro, and find the Sponsored Members add-on, click on add-ons, click on Sponsored Members, you get all of the sales copy here and the documentation. There's lots of information here, including a link to this updated video. Whoa, Inception. Some more information about installing. So if you like to read, go there. And then if you scroll down, we have the sample code for how to set up the levels and tell the add-on which codes are sponsoring, or which levels are sponsoring, which levels are sponsored. Or in other words, what's the apparent levels? What are the child levels? So I copied this code from this page and then pasted it into my code snippet. And then I tweaked it a bit, and let me walk through the tweaks that I did. So you'll see here, I can try to zoom in, that what we're doing is we're defining a global variable called PMPro SM_sponsored_account_levels. So this is a global variable that our add-on is looking for. And then you define this variable as an array. And so here's how it's set up. This ID, the 6 here, is the ID number of the level of the parent account. So level 6 is the ID of my parent account. Let me show you where I got that quick. I'm going to open in another tab, Membership Settings. And then you see here in the table, level ID 1 is beginner, enhanced, professional, introductory, and then the company plan has an ID of 6. So that's the number that I put here, the ID of my company level. And then this is redundant, but there's also a value in here called main level ID as 6. And so it just makes the coding on the other end easier, where like it can find that level in either way by looking for the 6 here or the 6 there. And then this is really the meat of what you're changing, is the sponsored level ID value. And here that's set to an array. So you can have multiple levels. And you maybe noticed that when in the demo, when I checked out as the parent account, it gave me 3 different links for people to sign up. If you only have one other level, like it's only the beginner level that is part of the company plan, just put that ID 1 there. If it's only level 3, put a level 3 there. But if you do a comma separated list inside of an array like this, all of those levels are possible levels for the child accounts to check out with. So yeah, maybe just to be a little bit easier, I could change that to 2. The other thing to think about levels is sometimes, almost always, when you're creating the parent level, it's a new level that wasn't existing on your website. And that's usually a good idea, is to separate the people who are creating groups this way. It's not necessary. You could use an existing level, but it's easier then to distinguish between people who signed up for just themselves or people who are signing up with seats. So that's almost always you're creating a new parent level. For the child levels, I find it's 50-50. People are either the parent level gives you the regular level, and so we call it enhanced, I think, on this demo site, the enhanced level. People are signing up for the enhanced level directly for $25, but also that's the level that the children of the company level are signing up for. You could also create another level that's like company plan, company members, and have it as a pair of levels where level 6 gives you access to level 7. But anyway, in this case, level 2 is the level that I want those child accounts under the company level to get. And then the next value here is the number of seats. So this is bundled up. So that company plan on this demo is $1,000 a year. By the way, notice if you're doing this for companies, a lot of times if you have monthly pricing, you might want to switch to annual pricing. That's sometimes easier for small businesses to handle, but you'll know your market. But the number of seats is how many of those how many uses on the discount code that they get, basically. And that's set to 5. And then under here, I have some code. It's commented out with this, and I'll get into this in another part of the demo. But you can see this is the code that's actually necessary to set up level 6 as the parent company and level 2 in this case as the child level. I said company. I've been talking weird all over the place, but for that last bit, I'm going to try to re-record this last bit. So this is the code that you need to set up level 6 in this case as the parent level and level 2 as the child level. This is the code that you need. Put it in code snippets and then set it to run everywhere. It's important that it runs on the front end and the back end because there's some functionality that happens in the dashboard. So run the snippet everywhere and then save changes and activate if you have to that code. Another thing I want to show is when I have sponsored members set up this way, where there's parent levels and child levels, if you ever edit a user, let me go to my members and I'll find this parent level. If I ever edit a user who has the parent level, I will see on here a box called seats, sponsored seats. It shows the code. And that code, by the way, is literally a discount code that you could view in the settings. So we're reusing discount codes and they'll always be prefixed with an S. And then this is a sponsored members discount code. And so you'll notice here, that's the code. And when I'm editing that parent user, it shows me again what code is being used. And then it has a number for the seats. And so this is handy where if you want to change that value, if you're giving people seats, like you have a VIP or pro bono account and you're like, oh, let me add seats for you. Or if you're managing some of the expansion of these user accounts offline, someone signs up for 5 seats, but then they give you a check and now you give them 25 seats or something like that. A lot of times these company corporate accounts that are doing these groups, it's lower volume than is typical for the other levels on your site. And so you can do things manually this way. So what you can do is log in as an admin, edit the member and change the seats from, it was 5, I changed it to 10. And then when I do that, you'll notice as on the front end, as the admin, I see one of 10 uses instead of 5. So this person now has 5 additional uses. Another thing that I wanted to demonstrate is how to charge per seat. So in the previous demonstration, it was $1,000 to get 5 seats. So now I'm going to set up the level so it's just $100 per seat and you can choose how many seats that you want. So that's possible just by tweaking the code a little bit. Let me get back to the dashboard code snippets and I'll edit my code snippet here. And if you remember earlier in the demo, I had this code and I copied it out. The example shows this case. And you really only need one of these groups unless you have multiple sponsored levels set up on your site. But let me show you and walk through what this code does. So again, this is level 6 is the parent level. It's redundant, the main ID. Then the sponsored level is 1, 2, 3 in this case. Give someone any of those. And then let me simplify this case again by just making it 2. So anyone can get level 2 when they're part of this group plan. And then here I'm going to set the seat cost and the maximum number of seats. If you look on the sponsored members documentation, there's a list of all these properties and they're under the seat cost and billing. The seat cost is required and you want the max seats. And even if you say, hey, it's unlimited, it's really important to put some max seat on there. Your credit card processor is probably not going to allow someone to check out for $100,000 on your website. Think of what's reasonable, and above a certain limit, they have to call you to edit things. So you can set that number very high, but it's usually good to put a max. You can also set a minimum number of seats. So if you want this level to be 5 to 10 seats or 5 to 20 seats, you can set the minimum number of seats. So let me show you what that looks like. This is with just $100 and the maximum number of seats is 10. I'll save the changes here. And then let me show you something about checkout here. I'm in an incognito window. And again, I'm going to check out for that company plan. And you'll see here that the cost says the price for membership is $100,000 per year. And then down here, it says enter a number from 1 to 10, $100 extra per seat. So notice that as I change this, it's actually going to charge 1,000 plus 600. And so if you were adjusting your level that used to be 1,000 for 5 seats, and now it's, $100 per seat, you're going to make sure that you do this math and test it to make sure you got it right. I'm adjusting my company plan. It used to be 5 seats for 1,000. So that was like $200 a seat, but now, so maybe I want $500 as a registration fee, and then it's $100 per seat. That $1,000 price point now gets me 5 seats. It's the same as it was before. And I'm making stuff up for the demo, but this is really important to your business and how it works, exactly how you want to charge it. But basically, if the only cost is the seat cost, you should set up your company level to have $0 as the initial payment and the billing amount. And the seat cost then will adjust the price at checkout. If you have some kind of application fee, or there's a base fee, or if you set that minimum number of seats, you might want to adjust this again. So in this case, I'm going to assume there's a $500 base fee, and then it's $100 for every extra seat on top of that. And that's how this is set up. So now when I go back to the front end and I'm checking out for this level, I'll refresh, and hey, it's $500 per year plus $100 per seat. Now this pricing gets confusing, so it's really important that you try to make this as simple as possible and then be as clear as possible when you're describing it to your users. And there's a couple tools we can link to help you make this even easier for your customers to understand. One is the level cost text editor add-on that we have, which basically lets you adjust this automatically generated pricing text to be exactly what you want. So you could squeeze in a little parentheses here that says plus an additional $100 per seat, see below, or something like that. The other thing is we have a code gist that if you contact us through support, we can share and help you set up, that will use JavaScript to update this price up here as you adjust your seat. And that's just a nice indication as you're changing the price changes. And it's pretty flexible. And the reason that's a code gist and not just part of the plugin is that the checkout page gets altered by any number of add-ons and customizations you're already doing. And so it's really a technique that may have to be tweaked slightly for your website. Anyway, so this case, let me check out again. I'm going to be the parent 2. And let's say I want 3 extra seats. So 500 plus 300 should charge me $800. Fake credit card. And checkout. Cool. So I got my confirmation. It gives me my new code. I remember level 2. This is the link to checkout for level 2 that it's sharing with me. And my code has 3 uses. I don't notice that it billed me $800. But if I click on my membership account, it's billing me that $800 every year because that's how the sponsored members, code was set up in this case. If you have more complicated requirements, it might take a lot of code to get what you need. And in that case, we can help experienced developers through our premium support at paidmembershipspro.com, or non-developers or inexperienced developers can contact us through our website at paidmembershipspro.com/contact and ask us for a list of partners who specialize in setting up this service. We are planning to have a more user-friendly version of this add-on in the future, but that's going to take a lot of development work. And in the meantime, we've released this because it's useful. One of the core values of how we build things at Paid Memberships Pro is that when we have usable code that's useful for websites, we want to put it out there as soon as possible so that developers who are able to use it can use it. And we also gather a lot of feedback about what actually are people using this add-on for, what features do they need, or what features maybe they don't need. We gather that feedback before spending more time to develop a user-friendly version of the plugin. So that's where this plugin is at. It's one of the more complicated add-ons for Paid Memberships Pro, but it's also very powerful. And if you follow along in this video, you will be able to set it up and you can see if it works for your site to offer group accounts, umbrella memberships, that kind of thing on your WordPress site.